All right, I've been working all night and I have not gone to bed yet, so I'm going to attempt to do this next lesson on ESFPs, following the line of videos I'm going to be doing about rescuing different types out of the cult or from high control groups. So, help! My ESFP is stuck in a cult. What can I do? All right, let's go over the ESFP for a second. Unlike the ISFJ, which I just did, these two are golden pairs. The ISFJ arguably is probably the most common woman. The ESFP is arguably the most common man. In the X-Ray community, there are a shit ton of ESFPs, and they typically are the ones that like to, I don't know, attack people for different things. They're an interesting type. My father is an ESFP. My mother is an ISFJ, so they're a golden pair, and they've been married a long time. Um, Both of them are currently Jehovah's Witnesses, and my father is a regular pioneer and a ministerial servant, I believe. He's never been an elder, which is pretty typical of SPs because they usually are never subservient enough to become elders. They can be, but typically they struggle with the subservient attitude. Most elders, in my opinion, are SJs. SJs are a lot um, better company men than SPs because SPs are naturally rebellious in a way. Okay, so what is the interaction style of the ESFP? The ESFP is of they're extroverted, so they'll initiate conversation topics. This is important because this is about how social engineer them. Um, they're going to be a movement type, so they might have a little more movement in their body language like this. They're going to be more about process, not about outcome, and so they're about having a process of one size fits all to keep things going at a good pace and to keep things moving, to keep the ball rolling. They hate stagnation and they have no problem living in chaos if need be and even initiating chaos to stop the stagnation and to create a movement type. All right, and they are also informative. So, like me, they don't necessarily mean what they say or say what they mean. They may speak in cryptic ways. Storytelling. My ESFP father would love to tell stories to explain things. Informative types are usually like this. They do it in a roundabout way, and sometimes they'll say 10 words, which you can definitely say in three. And so that's how you're going to know their interaction style. Okay. And their temperament is going to be the artisan, freedom loving based types. These all four of this temperament all have really high SC, so every single one of them has the ability to be good with physics and manipulating the material world. And this can include music, this could include construction, this can include art, this could include sex, this could include a lot of different things which are very physical, but they like to create and they like to give good experiences versus receive them. Now they like to receive experiences too, but typically speaking, they like to give it more so, and they like to do it in a group dynamic. That's why SPs like team sports. They like sports bars. They like places where they can be together and they can have their bromances and their group gathering, their group experience. Okay. While the ISFJ, which was mentioned, is more about their experience because its SI is about personal experience. Group experience is so a Jehovah's Witness ESFP is all about the community experience, and so they like to go to construction builds, for instance, and have a group experience with their friends and do relief work with their friends and things like that, and tell stories about what they did with the other people or what other people were doing, versus but what they were doing. Okay, so that's how you understand their temperament, and so their temperament also is pragmatic, which means they'll test rules. They don't necessarily want to follow it, and so they're independent, not interdependent. As a teacher, SPs are by far the hardest to teach. These are just students that'll just get up out of their seat and just walk off, and just do what they want. And then they're interest based, so they're looking for a win-win situation. They're looking for what's in it for me, what's in it for you. Is this a screw job? Is this not a screw job? Are we both benefiting from this? The interest type personality. Okay. And so you could be very suspicious of, different things, which will also play well in our social engineering, okay, with an ESFP. Okay, notably, most of the ESFPs we see in the XJW community, like Jay the Comedian is an ESFP, probably Bridget Fister is one too. Typically speaking, these are going to be your brothers that like to give talks and like to be funny, who want to give other people a good experience from the platform and make things entertaining and make things fun. ESFPs can get into construction, they can get into art. You can see people like the um, Eddie Murphy, ESFP. See Steven Tyler, ESFP. If you're looking at musicians and things like that, you can pretty much guarantee it's going to be an ESFP or an ISFP, although other types do fall in this, but by and large, those two types really are the musicians, the actors, and things like that. Rob Williams is probably an ESFP too. Um, Granted, you also can they can get into politics too with and AOC is also an ESFP. All right. So, anyways, let's get on the topic about how to rescue one and how to social engineer one. So, what is their biggest function? There's SE. SE Hero is their driving force. What is everyone doing right now? Not what they're going to do. What are they doing right now? Okay, so when you're talking with an ESFP, you need to always talk about what is present, what is real, what is tangible, and what is going on right now. Okay, you don't need to speculate with them. They don't want to speculate. Okay, they're going to talk about concrete things that are going on right now, not necessarily what's going on in the future, not necessarily what's in the past, but right now is their main focus in life and their driving force. Okay, with this, typically speaking, they're going to want to give you a good experience. So, to social engineer this, you need to make sure that you allow them to give you a good experience and to share how they make you comfortable and things like that. Okay? FI parent, it's morals. This is personal value systems. This is how they deduce right and wrong on their own personal base. This is why they're typically going to be your radicalized social justice warriors. You can see a lot of socialists who are a lot of the progressives are all really, really ESFPs. They really want change because right now life sucks. They're not looking in the future. They're not necessarily looking in the past, but right now life sucks and we need change. We need revolution. And this is the kind of the way they are. Um, so FI parent is all about personal value systems of right and wrong and deducing right and wrong moral subjects. Okay, and they like to do this in a responsible way versus, a more optimistic way of doing it. So they're going to be more critical thinkers when it comes to right and wrong and come with their own moral structure. All right, TE child. TE is rationale, not logic. Rationale is what the community or the group or you can say group think, but that usually comes with a negative connotation, so I don't like to use that. But rationale is what the collective mankind thinks. Okay, so they find their information in books, they find their information asking questions, they find their information from experts and things like that. And it's optimistic TE in a childlike, pure way. And so they like to ask, simple questions. Young ESFPs are always like, why is the sky blue? Why do dogs bark? Asking little questions like that. And even as adults, they don't really change. They're constantly going to be asking questions anyways. They can do really well in school. However, this can backfire on them for other reasons. NI inferior, they're afraid of wanting the wrong thing. And so when you're afraid of wanting the wrong things, they can get arrested development and get real stagnant, or they'll make decisions, then change their mind, and then make another decision, then change their mind, and make a decision and change their mind. And so you see like an ESFP in college will change their majors 4 or 5 times. Not sure about what they want to do because they might want the wrong things. This can be a problem if they're in the cult, if they're in a Jehovah's Witness, because they're afraid of making the wrong decision to leave. What if the end is going to come and I'm choosing to leave and rebel? I'm going to die. All right. So I think a lot of your pomies are probably ESFPs because they can't live into society because it's so restricted and rigid that their pragmatic side just struggles with it so much because the rebellious side, so they want to have sex with people, they want to smoke, they want to drink, they want to play music, they want to go on tour, they want to do all this other stuff, but uh, they still believe it because they have not verified anything else otherwise. SI nemesis, they fear of their past. Or they're worried about their past. I shouldn't say, because fear and worry are two different things. Fear is, petrifying, while worry necessarily isn't necessarily petrifying, because worry can be, you can worry about not being able to pay your bills, but then you fear drowning in water, so hydrophobia keeps you out of water, And so SI nemesis, they worry about their past. Typically speaking, ESFPs don't want to be like their father, or like their mother or whatever. So they want to raise their families in a new way that's not going to resemble what they grew up like. So they want to give their families a better life than what they had. Um, they worry about their past, and sometimes this can lead to songwriting. And so you think of like country music where the guy's singing about losing his wife and his dog and not being able to move on because he's worried about repeating it again. Uh, and so why try? Why try after I got divorced? I might as well not ever try to get married again. Because what if I make the wrong choice again? Uh, FE critic, they're criticals of other people's ethics, and so you see these people usually have a lot of Trump derangement syndrome because Trump has no ethics, and so they'll point that out and they get really pissed about that. And he's an ENTJ, he's not supposed to have ethics, but anyways, and so they'll be really critical of that kind of stuff, so they get triggered and they get really emotional and angry over unethical behavior, for instance, things like that. And so that's kind of how that works. And so with TI Trickster, this is something they think they do, but they don't really. Or if they do it, it's very exhausting, and so they don't do it very often because they don't want to, so they don't really necessarily personally verify what they read. Okay, this leads to them really sharing a lot of fake news on Facebook, and just like, oh, I read this article, it matches how I feel, so I'm going to press share, but not verifying where it came from, what's the source, does it correlate with other articles on that subject, or is this like a standalone thing? And so you'll see them doing that kind of stuff, and you know who they are. Any demon is, they don't really give two damns about what you want or what you're going to do necessarily. It's all about what they want. Okay, and so it's all about personal wants. And so you see when an ASFP gets restricted, you know, and their way of life, and they're not able to do what they want, it releases the demon. And so if daddy doesn't get what he wants, nobody's getting what they want. Okay, and so he's going to make sure everyone's futures are stopped, until he gets what he wants, because they're very giving, they're very moral, and they also care what people think. And so because of that reason, they think they should be able to get what they want, and in all honesty, they should. All right. And so how could you social engineer these types? All right, so unlike the ISFJ is an introvert and is responding, so you would need to approach them. The ESFP is not the case. You need to let the ESFP approach you. Okay, so you need to be patient because SE Hero wants to absorb SI, and SI is patience. And so if your ESFP father or mother is still in the cult, let them know what you're doing and leave it at that. And as soon as you initiate with them, you're going to shove them into their shadow, which isn't their ego, and they're going to be uncomfortable. And that's not what you want. You don't want them to be in a negative mode. You want them to be in their ego in a positive mode. Okay? And so allow them to initiate the conversation with you and ask you questions with their TE child, because TE child is naturally inquisitive. They want to know why you believe what you believe. What are you doing? You're no longer physically here. I notice, and I want to know what you think. Allow the ESFP to do this kind of stuff. Okay? So when you respond to them, you tell them what you think, what you verified. Okay? And tell them, that you were not comfortable in the Kingdom Hall because of this verified reasons. Okay? Because TE child loves facts and they love to absorb TI. And so you need to be imitating the ISFJ, this right here with TI child, and saying, oh, I don't feel comfortable in there because of this reason, this reason, this reason. This will go across with their parent function, and you, after you tell them what you think, you may respond now with how do you feel about this? Is this policy right and wrong to how you feel? Okay? You need to make sure that they understand, give them the option to explain how they feel about a situation. Don't tell them what the group thinks about it or what the group feels about it. That does not matter. All right? What matters is how they feel, because they come to their own right and wrong conclusion on their own versus what someone like myself who gets their sense of right and wrong from the community. All right? And so FI parents going to be responsible with this. And so you tell them what you think, but you ask them how they feel. Don't ask them what they think. That's a trickster function. It does not matter. Okay? Because that's just going to exhaust them and they're not really going to try to verify stuff anyways. It doesn't matter. All they care about is what you think or what this expert thinks or things like that. And so you could share articles or share videos, for instance, if they're willing to watch it. They are pragmatic, so they might break the rules. Remember that. Pragmatics don't like being boxed in. They don't like being thinking that they're being controlled, because that's going to cause them to freak out. All right. And so you could just share an article with them, or you could just share some kind of information with them or a video about an expert talking about the harmful practices of the witnesses. Okay. They may or may not watch it. They have a bigger chance of watching it than your ISFJ would. The ESFP is a pragmatic. They're freedom-loving based people, and so they love information already. And so that's why there's just so many ESFPs, I think, in the XJW community, because they all were curious, found out information from sound, reliable experts, and they found this information, okay? And then they were thinking about right now. Now, what keeps them stagnant? An I inferior. Always ask the ESFP what they want. Never tell them what you want. Do you want me in your life? Okay, let them answer that truthfully. They can say yes or no, and then be okay with that decision. Again, be patient. SE Hero wants patience. They want to absorb someone who's loyal to them. Always make sure your ESFP knows you're loyal to them to death no matter what. They can stay in the cult, you're still loyal to them. They can leave the cult and you're loyal to them. Let them know there's some place for them to go. There's somebody out there that will be loyal to them. Okay? Because Watchtowers is loyal to them all the time. Okay, there's no shortage of stories about how they're getting screwed over by them. Remember, they're interest based, and so they see the screw job, and so they'll see stuff like information like the Malawi or the Mexico, where there's interest involved in Mexico, where they're allowed to sign and bribe the officials, but the Malawi brothers are not allowed to do this kind of stuff. Why? What's the interest? What's in it for Watchtower? That's a good question to ask any SP. What's in it for Watchtower? Mexico has a lot more money than Malawi. Okay, there's a million Mexican witnesses. That's quite a huge amount of income. What's in it for Watchtower that then allow Mexico to break the law of Jehovah's Witness law code, and what Malawi cannot? Okay, these are simple questions. This is why I believe this. I don't believe this because I think it was immoral that Watchtower allowed Mexico to do this, but Malawi not to. Okay? Always tell them what you think. All right? Maybe you can stray away from the past for most cases because they worry about it. And so, or you can use this to the advantage if they've been disfellowshipped in the past. Ask them, hey, remember when you were disfellowshipped? How did that make you feel when you were outcast and not allowed to do what you wanted to do? Okay. and everyone was trying to tell you what to do, and you wanted to do this, but they said that was not okay, but even though you came to your own moral conclusion that it was okay, how come you can't make your own decisions based on what's right and wrong? Things to ask them. FE critic. They're very critical of ethics. Okay? Watchtower is a very unethical organization. There's no shortage of unethical behavior when it comes to Malawi, Mexico, child abuse. Okay? Just like the ISFJ, you're probably going to reach these people more or less through right and wrong versus true and false, because TI Trickster doesn't really give a damn about true and false necessarily, because anything could be true. Truth is subjective. Truth is irrelevant. All that matters is what everyone believes. Okay, because they're all about beliefs. All right, so this could be an issue. Uh, Again, don't ask them what they think. This is exhausting to them. Don't ask them what. Don't tell them what you want to do. They don't care what you want to do. All they care about is what they want to do. And so the way to offer this to an ESFP is perhaps, you know, let them know what you're doing right now. Not what you're going to do, but what you're doing. Hey, I'm over at the bar with a bunch of friends, having a good time drinking beer. What are you doing? Oh, you're at meeting. Oh, okay, interesting. And so different things like this can make them jealous, make them things like that, because they're all about what they want to do, and Watchtower restricts them from doing what they want to do. And so that's a big issue to them. All right. And so let's go over ESFP social engineering again. All right. Always talk about what's going on right now. Avoid the past, avoid the future. Talk about what's right now. Always let them know that you're making them comfortable, that they make you comfortable, and that they give you a good experience, that you always loved their entertainment, that you loved what they gave you, all their generosity, all this kind of things like this, because SE Hero is going to crave that. Make sure they know that you're always loyal and that you're going to be patient with them, and that's going to be the case. So with this, realize that they're all about instant gratification, and their movement types, and so they may just be like apostate overnight, and you cut you off guard. So be prepared to be that loyal, that patient person to help them in their transition when they leave. Okay. FI parent, always ask them how they feel about a situation. Never tell them how you feel, because they're critical of that. And so always ask them how they feel. Do you think this is right? Is this the right thing to do? TE child, always tell them what you think. I think this because of this verified fact. Okay? This expert says this, so I think this. All right? And I inferior, always let them give what they want because they're afraid of making the wrong decisions. Be patient with them because they might get stagnant in the Kingdom Hall, afraid to leave, afraid of making the wrong decisions. Be patient with that fear. Okay? So as soon as you let them make you comfortable, let them initiate you, because you want to keep them in this ego. You don't want to put them in the shadow, because if you initiate them, it's going to shove them into responding, and that's a negative thing. So you don't want to go out of your way to attack them, antagonize them, because they're going to get defensive. Always let them approach you. All right? Let your ESFP text you. Let your ESFP call you. Never call them. Just say, hey, I'm here for you. You can call me anytime. Let them know that's a giveaway. You can always do what you want. Okay? Don't tell them, hey, Dad, I want to talk to you. That doesn't irrelevant. Demon. He doesn't care what you want. Okay? All right? So remember, they worry about their past. There's a lot of things in here that make them really hard to be witnesses, because they're moral people. They hate unethical people. They're critical of unethical people. They worry about their past. So if they've been disfellowship before, they're worried that's going to happen again. They're worried. They fear not being able to do what they want. They hate being stagnant. They're about interests. So remember to bring up what's in it. Win-win. Okay? Why are they selling off Kingdom Halls? What's in it for Watchtower? Okay? Why is Watchtower involved in the UN? What's in it for Watchtower? Okay? Why is there a secret handbook? What's in it for the elders? Okay? Because they're going to ask questions. You can send them information. And the pragmatic side of an ESFP may look at apostate material. They may not tell you, but he probably will look at it because they're pragmatic and they do what they want. Okay, they're naturally rebellious types. And so there is that. All right. Don't ask them what they think. Don't ask them to verify things. This is exhausting for them. That's not the way they care about. All they care about is what you think, what experts thinks, what is believed, not necessarily what's true. Okay, and so this is something you can do for the ESFP in this situation. And so remember, let them approach you. Don't approach them. Let them know how much you appreciated their kindness and their generosity and what kind of experience they gave you. You missed their entertaining voice, things like that. Let them know that you're going to be faithful and loyal to them, and you'll be patient waiting for them to come to you. All right. Always tell them, and bring experts information. Child loves experts information. They love books. Don't be afraid to share with them some things from the apostate material. They may look at it because they are pragmatic. Okay. After you get these two things on your side, you know FI, morals, mixes with TE. And so what does this mean? It means they're going to be deducing and processing in their mind what is right and wrong on their own. It doesn't matter what Watchtower feels is right and wrong. They process it on their own, okay, with the information given. And so they will review critically the ethics of Watchtower and then base it upon their own parent function and say, hey, I don't agree with this. This is not the way it should be. Okay? Always let them do what they want. Okay? Never restrict what they want. Never box in an SP. Never box an ESFP in. Always allow them to do what they want. Let them know that you're doing what you want. They can get jealous over this kind of stuff because SE is very jealous. If they get angry, this is natural. ESFPs are arguably the most angered types of all 16 because SE hero mixed with FI parent is going to be very SE ragey. My dad is very mad all the time. All right, they can get very angry about this kind of stuff. This might not be a bad thing. This could be a good thing. All right, so they need to know that if they leave, they have someone that's loyal to them. They need to know there's going to be a patient people with them. They need to know about group experiences in the pasta stock, for instance. That's a group experience. Everyone's going to be excited about that and be with friends, and everyone going to enjoy and commonality, with friends and stuff. And so let them know about that kind of stuff. Point out, unethical practices. Use the worry about their past of being disfellowship. Worry about that happening again. Anyways, I hope this helps with the ESFPs.